Welcome to Sakshi TV's special immigration show with attorney Ms. Prashanthi Reddy from the law offices of Prashanthi Reddy PLLC. Ms. Reddy needs no introduction, but if you need consultation, please log on to reddyesq.com for contact information. Today we're going to discuss about immigration updates. We will continue the knowledge session along with the news and updates on latest immigration, followed by Q&A.
The first and most important is an update on the non-immigrant visa appointments in India.
Right.
So because of the non-availability of visa numbers and because the demand has far outpaced the available visa slots, it's resulted in a shortage of available slots. And we know for some visas, it's taking about a year and a half to get an appointment. So certain individuals, because of that, have taken advantage of this and they have booked visa appointments in bulk. And then they're charging a fee. You know how innovative we are. Indians can be very innovative. So this is one of the innovations they've come up with. Always game the system, always try to find some loophole until they get bit and everybody else gets affected by it, right?
So, I think find challenges to challenge a challenge.
Exactly. And and it doesn't work out finally, and innocent people get hurt.
Right.
That's what these scamsters don't understand. Always, they're to make a quick buck. But so certain individuals have taken advantage of the situation and taken up all the appointments in bulk. So that's why there are no appointments. Also part of the reason why there are no appointments available. And then what they're doing is then they're charging the visa applicants a slot. They're selling them time slots. So this type of abuse of the system they found out about it, thankfully. I'm sure it's been going on for a while if they found out about it, because nobody ever.
But that's also caution for a lot of our viewers who are not aware of such things.
Correct. So finally they found out about it and it's being handled. There's some anti-fraud scheduling measures that have been taken up by the Department of State on the Indian consulate front. And Don Heflin, the Minister Counselor for Consular Affairs in India, recently addressed the issue with reference to these agents misusing the system for personal gain. And one measure the U.S. consulate has added is to the online system is the CAPTCHA, C-A-P-T-C-H-A test to prevent bots from taking the available appointments in bulk. They don't do this manually. Obviously, they do it through bots. And if they have that CAPTCHA test, then you know that it's not a bot. And they can verify that. And if they don't pass the test, then they don't let the system move forward.
Since all of this is happening, then how can one find how can somebody book an NIV appointment in India, Ms. Reddy?
Right, that's a problem. So that's why they're introducing these measures so that it doesn't happen. So the consulate in India will no longer be announcing also specific dates for new appointments. Instead, and they're having this test so that the bots don't, somebody doesn't program a bot to take up all the visa slots. So they're also advising if you have any knowledge of anyone doing that, then you should report it to the fraud unit at mumbaif@state.gov. So they've given Mumbai fraud at state.gov. So that's mumbaif@state.gov, so that you can report if you hear of any such instances where people are reserving slots and then selling them. So that's something important. That's an important update for people to know that this is happening. This fraud is happening with the consulates. Another update is the premium processing. They've extended it to some other visa types. For those who don't know, premium processing is available for a lot of non-immigrant visa petitions, such as H1s, L1s, I-140s. That's an immigrant petition, premium processing. But just to go back to what premium processing actually is, premium processing is pretty much you pay a premium of 2,500, used to be less, and USCIS guarantees that within 30 days or within 45 days, depending on the type of visa, they will process the case. Earlier it used to be 15 days, so they've changed that. But within that is what premium processing is. They will premium process your case if you pay them an additional amount of money. And the Biden administration has said in its first year of office itself that they should include more kinds of visas in this premium processing, including EADs especially, or those other cases that are heavily backlogged. And USCIS has said it will implement this guidance from the White House in a phased manner. They haven't done it. This is the first thing. This is phase 2, and they're doing it just for types of visas that are not used much. So now this phase 2, they've implemented it for EB1 cases, multinational executives, or L1s. Multinational executives, EB1s. That is people who.
So when did the phase 2 start, Ms. Reddy?
Beginning of August.
Right, so it's already begun.
Correct. So EB1s, multinational executives, manager petitions received on or before July 1, 2021. And EB2 national interest waiver petitions received on or before August 1, 2021. So national interest waiver, that is self-petition. People are petitioning by themselves because they have some exceptional ability because of which, them getting a green card will be in the national interest of the United States, those kind of cases. And your multinational executive manager kind of positions, they have agreed to expand premium processing to those cases. So that's the news about premium processing. Another update is the 60-day grace period. Now, since the COVID started, they have been implementing a measure whereby people who have an RFE, request for further evidence, or motions to reopen, anything that has a deadline, you have a 60 days grace period. In addition to the last date that you have to submit the application, they have added 60 days. So we thought they're not going to, they're basically extending that provision every 3 months. So we thought that they will not extend it further, but they have extended it further to October. So that's good news. Any new RFEs that you get, you still have a 60 days grace period over the last day. And another measure that they have implemented, they've extended and now they have made permanent, is that the signatures on applications can be photocopies of signatures. So they don't need original signatures anymore. So that's a great relief because, especially for attorneys, asking clients to mail in the forms with the original signatures is not needed anymore. They can just email us, sign and email us the forms, and then you can just print that out and send it out. Also, medicals, another update is medicals should not be submitted with interfiling cases. They've made a special announcement on this, and they've made it several times, but they have again recently, a few days ago. When we're filing for transfer of underlying status, that means if you're having a 485 and you filed the 485 based on an EB3 I-140 petition, but now you want to transfer that EB3, that 485 to EB2 approval, I-140 approval that you have, that's called interfiling or transfer of underlying basis. So when you do this interfiling, a lot of people are sending their medicals as well because they didn't send them previously when they filed their application.
Right.
But they are saying that there is no purpose in you sending the medicals. Instead, just get the medicals done and keep them so that when we request them in an RFE, then you can send them to us. Right. Because unless they request them in an RFE, we cannot send them the medicals, unfortunately. And that is why I have always told my clients and everyone who will listen to me that when you file a 485, don't file an incomplete petition. Even if it takes a few days longer, wait for to get the medicals, wait to get the birth certificate, and then file it. If you file an incomplete petition, what will happen is that they will send an RFE. But the thing is, they will not, even if you respond to that RFE immediately, they will not process it immediately. And if there is an RFE due on your case, they will put it at the back of the line. So while all your other friends will most probably get their case processed and their case will move forward, your case will just be sitting there because it's in line for an RFE or it's in line for RFE review. And by then, the visa numbers may become unavailable and you will be stuck because the visa numbers may retrogress. So never file an incomplete 485 petition. Do yourself a favor and file a complete petition with medicals, birth certificates, everything that you can think of to avoid, an RFE, an obvious RFE. We know when we'll get an RFE. I wanted to give you was there's a bill introduced in the House by Democrats, and that would allow undocumented immigrants who've been living in the United States for at least the last 7 years to legalize their status. Remember, this is just a bill that has been introduced. It has not been passed.
That's right.
And so what they're doing here is that they're changing something known as the registry. There's already a law which says that people who are not legal in the country can become legal after a certain number of years. What they've done with this law was created in 1929 by the Congress. And in 86, the last time it was updated was in 86, where they said people who came before 86 can legalize themselves. Then they changed it to 1972. They said people who came before 1972 can legalize themselves. So pretty much it's useless right now because most people who have come before 72 no longer are alive or, whatever. So there are very few people who are actually using this registry act because very few of them really exist now.
Right.
So according to government data, 58,000 became green card holders in 85. In 89, 11,000. In 1990, only 2,000. And in the 2000s, only 911. So you can see
the numbers going down.
Just drastically. Now it's, I think, almost close to zero.
Wow.
So they've what they've done is the Democrats, they've with a vote, a total of 46 Democrats have endorsed the bill, and they've said that 1970 date should be moved forward so that anyone who comes before 7 years, so what's that, 2018? So 2008, is that 7 years before? 2014, I guess, right?
7 years, right?
Yeah, about 2014. So anyone who comes 2014 or after can legalize their status. They're expecting that about 9.6 million of 11 million undocumented immigrants can get a benefit of this if it is passed. So it'll be very useful. This is another amnesty or that kind of bill, legalization kind of bill. One of the numerous that the Democrats have tried to pass. The bill obviously is going to face strong opposition, and it may not get the required 60 votes in the Senate. But this is kind of the strongest, this bill represents the strongest support in decades for what used to be the routine practice of updating the registry date. People have forgotten about it completely, updating this date.
Wow. Very progressive then.
Yeah, so this is, somebody has remembered it at least. Let's see what happens.
Right.
They've forgotten about this registry act completely, but let's see if that helps in any way. I think the last but not the least is that an update on all the lawsuits that have been filed. So not surprisingly, May 2022, so the month of May, the federal courts recorded 647 immigration-related lawsuits for agency delay. And this is the highest number of such cases filed in a single month. Since they started keeping track of this, there's a Transactional Record Access Clearinghouse, TRAC, and they've been keeping record of these numbers since October 2007. And since that time, this is the highest number of individual cases filed by people whose cases have been delayed. So generally they file a writ of mandamus, asking the court to help, asking the court to force USCIS to give a decision on their case, because it has been overdue and beyond processing times. So May has seen the largest number of such cases, and we're not surprised. And delays are due, of course, in part due to the COVID pandemic, and because of the recent resource crunching. We've been talking about this in other episodes as well, that they don't have enough money. In the past, at least, now they seem to have enough from USCIS, what USCIS is telling us, and they're hiring people. But yeah, it's a result of that, the increase in processing time. And so the number of immigrant-related delayed lawsuits continues to climb because of that. For the year 2022, we've so far had 6,276 cases. Compared to last year, there were 4,000 cases last year. This year, 6,000 cases.
Wow.
So you can see that, it's progressively increasing every
Right.
year, number of lawsuits that are being filed. And this is not good for USCIS also, because it takes up a lot of their resources and time, because they have to represent themselves at any court
But that's
hearing.
definitely putting them in a bad light as well.
Yeah, puts them in a bad light. Also, then their resources are used for this purpose, because they have to send an officer to represent them in court. They have to make multiple court appearances. They have to respond to the, they have to respond to the judge in writing, have to file several motions and petitions. So it's not easy.
Thank you for being on our show, Ms. Reddy.
Thank you, Tony.
You're watching Sakshi Live, and this is Thorni. Thank you.